Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. One of the big questions the Trump administration is going to have to figure out between now and when they assume office on January 20th, what exactly is the posture going to be towards all of the perpetrators of the lawfare against the president and allies, and frankly, ordinary Americans, if you want to fold in January 6th, which we must do because of the promises Trump made during the campaign about nonviolent J6 individuals who were convicted of crimes and are serving time in prison. He called them political prisoners. He essentially suggested that commutations were in order at minimum when it came to nonviolent offenders. So how much quote-unquote political capital do you want to spend on that? How early do you want to do that if you still want to do that? Is it going to be prioritized or deprioritized? And as these legal cases go away, do you let Jack Smith just fade away? Letitia James, the judge in that case, the Judge Merchan, and Alvin Bragg in the business records case, Fani Willis. What about the IRS whistleblowers that came forward? Do we pick up the information that they provided to Congress in addition to media and take a look at the decisions that were made at IRS, at FBI, even if you don't want to pursue the Biden family any further? These are big questions. Well, here's one perspective.
Yeah.
We talked to Professor William Jacobson from Cornell Law about it yesterday. He had a perspective that I think was sort of the middle perspective. The Department of Justice should investigate the investigators to provide if there's a suggestion or belief that Trump's constitutional rights may have been violated, and go wherever the facts lead. That's one approach. But otherwise, deprioritize some of these other matters. Mike Davis was the founder of the Article 3 Project and a former Justice Gorsuch law clerk, and rumored to be in the running to be White House counsel. He sent a message to Tish James after she sent a message to the president the other day, and it went a little something like this.
Let me just say this to Big Tish James, the New York Attorney General. I dare you to try to continue your lawfare against President Trump in his second term, because listen here, sweetheart, we're not messing around this time. And we will put your fat ass in prison for conspiracy against rights. And I promise you that. So think long and hard before you want to violate President Trump's constitutional rights or any other American's constitutional rights. It's not going to happen again.
For more on this and other related topics, please be joined by Bret Baier. Hopefully he's gotten some sleep. Host of Fox News Special Report, weekdays 5 p.m. Best-selling author of To Rescue the Constitution, George Washington and the Fragile American Experiment, as well as The History Club, Duel Across Time. Bret, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Morning.
My sense from the people that I know inside Trump world is that the attitude, maybe not the rhetoric, but the attitude is much closer to Mike Davis's than it is to where Trump was in 2016, which is, sort of for the good of the country, let's leave Hillary Clinton and Clinton Foundation alone.
I'm not sure. I haven't gotten that from him. I've spoken to him a couple of times. He seems more focused on success and doing the things that he wanted to do, and getting the right people around him. Mm-hmm. And that is, tantamount to getting that success and not feeling like somebody is in there, just for a short time to then go write a book or something. So, it comes with experience. You come with the sense that you've been there before. I don't think they're going to go down this road, the lawfare stuff. I'll be interested to see how these things wrap up. I tend to believe that they're going to wrap up, and that it's not going to be on his plate. As for January 6th, I think that's a different ballgame. And you're right that the nonviolent offenders probably will see something sooner rather than later, just because he promised it on the trail. Listen, what he said on the trail is now, a mandate. If you look at that map, there hasn't been a map like this in a long time, that much red. And it was a clear signal. It's not even ambiguous. So he has a lot of leeway. I think he's going to tick down the most important things first.
Well, do you think it will be immigration? I mean, there's one county in Texas where they have 95% Hispanic population, and 75% voted for Trump solely on the immigration issue because they're on the front line and they see what happened, in a Trump administration and then what happened under a Biden-Harris administration.
Yeah, that's Starr County along the border with in Texas, and it hadn't voted for a Republican since the 1800s.
Wow.
And so, yeah, that's a big deal, and I think it's going to be top of mind. I mean, like number one. I was surprised that he didn't wrap up the campaign, actually, on that final night at the border, saying this is what this is about. But I think that's probably top of mind.
Well, it needs to be because you got a 3,000-person caravan heading to the southern border, and I wonder what his public pronouncements will be. Perhaps, I don't know, maybe goading Biden to do something that he is otherwise inclined to do, or sending some message to migrants from the world over about how things are going to be. So turn around. I don't know, but he's got a pressing issue right now.
Yeah, he does, and I'm sure he'll weigh in. Wouldn't be surprised if Mexico starts getting a little bit more active in the wake of former President Trump becoming president-elect. I think they will want to be in good stead with the incoming president, and so I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
The response from Kamala Harris and the Democrats, including Biden yesterday, Biden took it more in stride, although I thought it was interesting. He said this is proof that you can trust the system and that our elections work. I think particularly given the turnout of this election, sort of reverting back to historical norms, there's still a lot of questions about the 15 million or 14 million vote difference between Biden and Harris, 2020 to 24. But he certainly wanted to make that point. But the rest of the left, at least the most outspoken, platformed voices, they're sort of alternating between Trump got lucky, it's all Biden's fault, or everybody who voted for Trump is a racist and misogynist.
It's truly amazing to look at the different responses, and it's so overwhelming that it's taking a number of days for a number of folks to absorb it, and some are doing it with grace and in stride, and others are not. Others are imploding, literally, and I think there's going to be time, but there are some folks that want the resistance to start right now, and I think overall the country is kind of tired of that, and I'm not sure there's going to be a lot of rope for them to go down that road.
Well, and the Republican side, just in Congress, you're talking about the map and the results and the mandate. Do you see Trump having any problems with what he laid out in his campaign with Republicans, either in the House or the Senate? There'll be a new Senate Majority Leader. Maybe it'll be John Thune, maybe not. But John Thune hasn't always been Trump's biggest cheerleader. But, I mean, just as you were saying, given the overwhelming nature of the victory, it seems like he probably avoids some of the problems he had with Republicans the first go-around?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, listen, a lot of them owe their election to his coattails. He will have more senators, so he'll have some leeway as far as the numbers. With the House, and it's expected to be, a slim majority, but still House GOP control, then you can throw things over to the Senate and do it on a budget. Reconciliation requires 50 votes, not 60. So, listen, there's going to be a lot that can be done very quickly. And again, since a lot of these folks, including the president-elect, have been there before, it's like you know the blueprint. It doesn't take you 7 months to get spun up.
Right.
You know everything. So on day one, you're signing all the executive orders. You are putting in place the initial effort in the House that eventually becomes a bill that goes to the Senate. I mean, I think it's going to be fast-tracked, the stuff that he really wants to get done fast.
Do you think President Trump, when he becomes president, will pardon Hunter? I mean, he has a sentencing, I think, in the next 2 weeks here?
I actually think his dad's going to pardon him before he leaves office. I'm just guessing that, but I don't know.
If you can't pardon your son, who can you pardon?
Exactly.
Yeah, the old
That's what
Richard
you would
Daley
say all the time.
formulation. Yeah, we know that well in Chicago.
Yeah.
The Kamala Harris interview, we have to ask you about that because you sort of made it okay for people to ask her questions that were a little bit more serious than why are you so great? And I just wonder what happened after the staff finally pulled you back, and I don't know what they were going to do. I like have her walk off the set, but it was interesting the pressure you were getting from staff that seemed to be pretty obvious. But I just wonder what like the interaction was off camera in terms of how collegial she was. Did she think that she was fair? Did you get any pushback for being unfair? Because I thought you did a very good job of like providing substantive pushback, and frankly, you gave her a lot of berth. She talked over you to try to avoid answering questions.
Yeah, it's really funny to listen back to the reaction to that. You know, there were some on the right that said I was too easy on her and that gave her too much rope. And then, of course, the left was saying I was incredibly rude and et cetera, et cetera. Listen, the campaign wanted a moment. And believe it or not, inside, like through allies, they said they got the moment they wanted, which was like her standing up, being strong, that sort of thing. It was not exactly warm when she left, but it was cordial, and it was fine. It was just interesting, the whole waiting 18 minutes, and we had told them the deadline. We had to start at 18 minutes past the hour, otherwise we had to go live because we were doing it on tape to air at the top of the hour. And so we were scrunched, we were pushed, and we sat down and we just started. So, listen, would I have done things differently? A couple of things if I look back, but overall, on substance, I wanted to ask those questions. And after I did that interview, to your point, Anderson Cooper asked almost exactly the same question in that town hall, and so did NBC.
Yeah,
and I didn't get any pushback.
I got to tell you that the moment, though, for me in that interview, and I have my perspective, of course, but I think it resonated, was when you played Jocelyn Ungary's mom, and you asked her about that, and you asked her again about that because she wouldn't answer the question if she thinks that she owes that family an apology, and she gave the "I'm very sorry for your loss." That was a very telling moment about Kamala Harris, in my view, and I think a lot of people's views, and I don't think it was the moment they were looking for.
Yeah, and it was a tough, thing. She would not answer the executive order stuff and was going back to the bipartisan Senate bill. So, there were different roads that I was going to take depending on how she was going to answer, and that was one of the off-ramps that I had, was to play that soundbite.
Well, good job. You've done your work. Now you can take a little golf vacation.
I may indeed.
Bret Baier, host of Fox News Special Report, 5 p.m. weekdays, best-selling author of To Rescue the Constitution, George Washington and the Fragile American Experiment, as well as The History Club, Duel Across Time. Bret, thank you as always.
Thanks.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560. The Answer.
At Balance of Nature, the quality of our products always starts with TLC, tender, loving care. We start by ensuring that only the finest fruit and vegetable ingredients are selected for our supplements. We put our ingredients through an advanced vacuum cold process that removes their moisture. Then they're ground up into a fine powder, encapsulated, and voila! Our fruits and veggies supplements are made just for you with love. And our commitment